I want to show you something that could completely change how we think about diabetes. Right now, over 500 million people worldwide are living with this condition, and that number keeps climbing. But here's what most people don't know. The latest research shows that up to 90% of type 2 diabetes cases are actually preventable. So the question isn't whether we can stop this, it's whether we're willing to look at the real evidence and act on it. Let me break down what's actually happening. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition where your body attacks insulin-producing cells. That's about 5 to 10% of cases. Type 2, which we're focusing on today, involves insulin resistance, and it's the one tied to lifestyle factors. Then, there's prediabetes, affecting over 96 million Americans alone, and most don't even know they have it. The research from 2023 and 2024 has completely updated our understanding of how this progression works, and why catching it early matters so much. What's changed recently is massive. We now understand the molecular pathways better. We have real-time monitoring tools that didn't exist 5 years ago. And we're seeing breakthrough medications that do more than just manage blood sugar. The science has accelerated faster than most people realize. So if your last update on diabetes was from even a few years ago, basically everything I'm about to show you is going to feel new. So let's bust some myths, starting with the biggest one. Diabetes is just about eating too much sugar. Actually, no. Sugar matters, but what really drives type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance, when your cells stop responding efficiently to insulin. This comes from overall dietary patterns, excess, visceral fat, chronic inflammation, and metabolic stress. Recent peer-reviewed studies show that people eating high amounts of refined carbs, processed foods, and unhealthy fats have significantly higher risk, even if their sugar intake alone isn't extreme. Myth number 2. If diabetes runs in my family, I'm destined to get it. Here's the reality. Genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. A 2024 study, tracking over 200,000 people, found that healthy lifestyle factors reduce genetic risk by more than 70%. And myth 3. Prediabetes isn't a big deal. Wrong. Without intervention, 25% of people with prediabetes develop full type 2 diabetes within 5 years. But here's the good news. The same study showed that modest lifestyle changes dropped that progression rate by nearly 60%. Now let's talk about what really drives risk. Insulin resistance is the core issue. Your muscle, fat, and liver cells become less responsive to insulin, so your pancreas has to work overtime. Visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your organs, is metabolically active and releases inflammatory compounds that worsen insulin resistance. Sleep and stress are massively underrated factors. Poor sleep, less than 6 hours regularly, disrupts hormones like cortisol and ghrelin that regulate appetite and glucose metabolism. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, which directly raises blood sugar and promotes fat storage around organs. So, what actually works? Let's start with movement. You don't need to become a marathon runner. 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, which is about 20 minutes a day, reduces diabetes risk by 40–50%. Resistance training twice a week adds another layer of protection by improving insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue. Walking after meals, even for 10 minutes, has been shown to lower post-meal blood sugar spikes by up to 30%. These aren't extreme interventions, they're just consistent, deliberate movement. Now, food. The strongest evidence supports eating patterns, not restrictive diets. Mediterranean-style eating, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, lots of vegetables, has decades of data showing reduced diabetes risk. The key is prioritizing fiber and protein at every meal, which slows glucose absorption and keeps you full. A 2023 trial found that people who increased fiber intake to 30 grams daily and ate protein with every meal reduced their diabetes risk by 35% over 3 years. This isn't about perfection, it's about building a pattern that's sustainable and evidence-backed by medical research. Now here's where things get really interesting. Continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, used to be prescription-only devices for people with diabetes. Now they're available over the counter, and they're being paired with AI coaching apps that analyze your data in real time. You eat a meal, your glucose spikes, and the app tells you why and how to adjust next time. Companies like Levels, Nutrisense, and Signos are turning raw data into personalized behavior change. Treatment tech is advancing just as fast. Closed-loop insulin systems, basically an artificial pancreas, automatically adjust insulin delivery based on real-time glucose readings. Decision support algorithms are helping doctors personalize treatment plans faster and more accurately. And then, there are the breakthrough medications. GLP-1 receptor agonists like semaglutide and tirzepatide don't just lower blood sugar, they reduce appetite, promote weight loss, and have shown cardiovascular benefits. A 2024 study found that people on these medications reduce their risk of heart attack and stroke by 20%. These aren't magic bullets, but they're reshaping what's possible. So, what's on the horizon? Beta cell regeneration research is exploring ways to restore insulin production in people with type 1 diabetes. Islet cell transplants are showing promise in early trials, and gene editing tools like CRISPR are being tested to correct genetic mutations that increase diabetes risk. These are real, but they're still years away from widespread use. The timeline is probably 5 to 10 years before we see any of this in clinical practice. So while it's exciting, the tools we have right now, lifestyle intervention, early detection, and smart medication use, are what we need to focus on today. We also have to talk about access and equity. AI-driven tools, CGMs, and new medications are incredible, but they're expensive and not equally available. Data privacy is another concern. Who owns your glucose data, and how is it being used? The future has to include fair pricing, inclusive design, and strong privacy protections. Or, we'll just widen the gap between who benefits and who doesn't. That's not just a tech problem, it's a societal one, and it needs attention now. Here's what you can do, starting today. Day 1. Schedule a metabolic panel with your doctor. Know your fasting glucose and A1C. Days 2 through 7. Add one 20-minute walk daily. Swap one processed meal for a whole food option, and aim for 7 hours of sleep. If you're at risk or already have pre-diabetes, talk to your doctor about whether a CGM or medication makes sense for you. The science is clear. You have way more control over this than you think, so take the first step, stay consistent, and use the tools we have right now. The future of diabetes prevention isn't just about better technology, it's about better decisions made earlier, by more people. Let's make that future happen. Please like, share, and subscribe.